How many viewers do we have so far? Do we have any? Is anybody here? Let me know in the chat. Gotta make sure everything's going well before I start talking. Hello! Bogdan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let me know if I am. So people are joining. I can't see how many people have joined, however. That's the problem that I'm finding at the moment. Anyone else here, let me know. Let me disable something really quickly on my computer. This is the first live stream in a very long time, actually, since the 10,000 subscriber special with Bella, which was, I can't even remember what month that was. August? It was around August or September or so. Anyone else in the chat? Anyone else? Makes me think something is wrong. But everything could be totally fine as well. Let's see here. Looks like 5. Hold on a second. No, that's not right. Hello, hello. Hello there. Okay, so we got some more people. Okay, good. Good. Hello. Sneak pop in from work. Okay, so now we got some people coming in. It's probably just because I just started. Yes, I want to make sure that everything, like I said, this is the first stream that I've actually done since, since last year. Since last year. I've become more familiar with this stuff, but there's just one little issue that I'm having. Want to make sure that I can keep up with what's going on here. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So we got some more people in. I've pretty much figured that out. Pretty much figured out the problem there that I was having. All right. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. How have you all been this week thus far? How's your week been thus far? Let me know. We got the number 1, number 2, number 1. Got some. Yep. Okay. Eddie, how can we send you videos we'd like you to react to? Email edgoki@pm.me is the best way to do that. So far, since I've started making videos and all of that, I have been able to respond to every single one, or at least I've been able to get to them. Some of them I can't respond to, but I do look at all of them. I've been able to catch up, which is good. I dedicate a lot of time for that. So, of course. Yeah, we got some people in. End of January, rough in some ways. Yeah, to the email. I've been training and working. Good. Training. Very good. Oh man, I envy you quite a bit, actually. There are some tiny touch-ups that we need to do to my anatomy for me to be able to more conveniently do such a thing. In order for training to be a net positive return on investment. I was pushing through the problems that I was having for months and months before I realized, yeah, the benefits do not outweigh the cons right now at the moment. That was even with variable resistance training. So, hill sprints yesterday out in the back country. Oh, good. Sprints. You know, I don't think I've ever taken sprinting seriously, like I've actually done it before, regularly. But is training aging? Well, I suppose it depends on what you mean by aging. I mean, it does induce damage, but usually it's a higher again, if it's the proper exercise and the proper training, it seems to be beneficial to the organism at large. So, training and working. Sounding good, low latency apparently too. Low latency. Oh, it looks like I missed some chats. Greetings, friend. Sounding good, low latency apparently too. Yeah, that's weird. Low latency. So wait, hold on a minute. Are you guys having a problem viewing or hearing me in any way? Just want to make sure that we have that before I even start talking regularly. And about the really, really important things. Let me know about that. And on my end, I'll check to see if everything is looking good. It still looks good to me. Video and sound is good for me. Okay, good. Bog. Hold on a second. Someone says, no, sounding and looking very clear. Okay. All right. So net, okay. 3 people have said looks good, which is good. I can hear and see you just fine. Perfect. Perfect. When did I start this? About 5 minutes ago or so. I'll give it just a few more minutes, and then I'll get into what I really want to talk about, which is something very, very critical and important, actually. And yeah, you guys may already know what this is about. Hence the title. Carmen Young. Yeah, everyone says yeah. Good. Glam Batista _ sicko. Yes, sounding good and very clear. I do, but I'm not telling. Good. Yes. Have you signed up for my health science community? Have you, my friend? Okay, we're getting some more viewers coming in. That's good. That's good. Oh, it's an I, not an L. Right, okay. My fault. All right, we got some more. See, as soon as I see that we're getting more, I want to actually, I'm like, okay, we'll give it another minute then, because we got some more people joining. So, yes. It's actually refreshing, to do a live stream instead of doing a recording where I, am like reacting to a bunch of nonsense and all that. I like just being, it's far more, there's something about it that's more like relaxing. I don't know exactly what it is. It could be because I feel like it's almost like it's not really a performance. I don't know. I'm out here in the sun under clear skies eating steak. It's so nice. Oh, good, good. That does sound nice. Where are you? Without divulging too many personal details, of course, on a YouTube stream. After this, I'll start talking about what I really want to talk about with you. Again, some of you already know exactly what this is about. And if so, then you're going to hear it again. Southern Cali. Oh, good. Awesome. California. Also, depending on how you look at it, not so awesome, but don't worry. It's nothing personal. Anyway, okay. So, many of you have known, you've seen for the last few months now, the sort of building towards a health science community that is separate and distinct from the rest of them. There are plenty of communities in the space, and not just, we're not just talking about the alternative health space broadly. There are some in the carnivorous space, the keto space. There's plenty in the vegan space as well. I don't know if any of you are a part of that or a part of those. I hope not. Unless it's to sort of mess with them. I'm not advocating for that, actually. But I'm not necessarily saying that it wouldn't be slightly, at least, amusing. But what I wanted to do, what you've already heard about this, is that I've wanted to build a health science community that is predicated on something quite different. You see, in the alternative health space, and this is just a sort of function of human nature, we are intrinsically tribal creatures. We gravitate towards dogma. It's enticing, it's captivating. Not to necessarily say that dogma on its own is necessarily problematic. You can have true dogma as well. But in the colloquial sense, that's not what we see nowadays. What we see nowadays is really diet tribalism. What you'll see is a bunch of fallacious logic that's used to sort of, in a marketing fashion, in a very, very charismatic fashion, to sort of recruit people into an ideology, or you can call it a camp, whatever it might be, whatever you want to call it. And then those camps battle and duke it out with each other. And it's really, really shallow. It's vapid. It's very unsophisticated. And so, I thought, there's a lot of these communities, and by the way, it's not to say that every community in carnivore, every community in the vegan spaces are like this. It's not to say that at all. But it is to say that there are always bad apples in any space, and some communities are better than others, and some communities are predicated on that more than others. But I wanted to make a community that was built upon the logic that I employ and sort of invoke in my videos, in my public material. And that material is based on, well, it's not based on industry sponsored bias, for one, which a lot of these diet tribes are, these sort of pundits in the tribes are. And I also wanted to ensure that mine was built on actual logic. And I mean that actually in the formal sense. Everyone says they're logical. It's like a liar saying, I'm not lying, or someone that tells the truth saying, I'm telling the truth. Liars say that they're telling the truth. People that say they're telling, that it doesn't mean anything with words alone. And so I wanted to build a community of people that are like-minded, that have a very similar, well, hence what I just said, they have a similar mindset in that respect. They appreciate logic. They have an actual desire, a genuine bona fide desire to discover the truth, to pursue the truth through humble curiosity, and to arrive at that truth on a broad basis. But obviously this community focuses primarily on the diet and health aspect of the world. And so that community, it seems that there's, of course, other, this isn't to say that I'm the only person that does this, but I think that it's highly lacking in the alternative health space. And so that is what this community is predicated upon. People that, like you and I, if you're watching, the likelihood, I would presume, of you being one of these people is quite high. And this is built for people like you that believe that this is in high demand and low supply. This is in low supply primarily, so that we can basically, there's a lot of people that come to my public material to reinforce their positions of diet, carnivore, health in general. And despite that, I can only say so much. People can only listen to so much at once. And so there are still questions that people have. And so if you are someone that still has questions surrounding diet that are going unanswered because, again, of low supply of time on my end, and people that are spending time in the comment sections, this community is for you. That's just one of many reasons to join this community. If you're someone that has all the answers surrounding health, then of course, you don't have to join. No worries at all. But yes, that was the sort of initial spark for building this community. And at the moment, we are in the founders phase. And so what that means is that you will get the lowest price for this community that it will ever exist at, so long as you remain a member in good standing. And the prices will be raised significantly later on. And so we are in the founders phase, and I'm providing the best opportunity, all the opportunity for people to join as founding members of this community to help shape the community from the ground up. You're involved effectively in the building process. There's things to come in the future for it, obviously, because hence why we're building it from the ground up, and it's not just already built. So there's more to come in the community, and I want to provide people the opportunity to help build that at the lowest price possible. So you're getting, basically, it's a double whammy, but a positive double whammy. Lowest price possible, so long as you remain a member of good standing, and you are able to help build the community and help shape the way that it's built as well. So I've been talking for long enough at the moment. Let me take a break and see what you guys are saying at the moment. Let me see here. Uh-oh. It looks like I lost a bit of the chat. Yes. Yeah, we look for certainty and stability for sure. Well, absolutely. Yes, effectively what I've been saying is you find the strongest signal in a world full of noise. In a space full of noise, the human nutrition and human health space is full of noise. And there's a big reason for that. They're using a noisy field primarily to actually arrive at conclusions. That's a great recipe for finding noisy signals. At some point, the signal becomes so noisy that you can't even really call it a signal at all. Right? I mean, at some point, it just becomes pure noise. It's in low supply and I highly demand it. Yes, good. Good! I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing the names right. Genna or Jenna? Genna. Romatrone 7507. Bro, I'm struggling so much digesting on carnivore. Could you give me some help, please? Well, when it comes to people experiencing issues on carnivore, which obviously happens, I mean, you can't necessarily expect to have complete ease of transition whenever you transition from a poor diet that you've been on for potentially 10 years, 20 years in some people's cases, sometimes multiple decades, immediately to carnivore. You might expect some problems. Usually, I will say that there's too few details that are provided here. It depends on a multitude of factors, what course of action to take, what the problem actually could be. And so this is whenever I'd recommend people speak with and communicate with a coach. This is what coaches are for. I am not a coach, although the legal requirements to become a coach is calling myself one. So I guess I am if I want to be. I've never called myself one though. So technically right now, I'm not a coach. So, what do you think of Face IQ? You two are probably my favorite health YouTubers. I haven't really watched too much of them. I'm very unfamiliar with them. Yes, we need more rigor and actual scientific pursuit of truth through logic, which is also too lacking everywhere. See, Carmen gets it. Carmen gets it. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is in very low supply. It is highly lacking, and it's a problem. Using the wrong areas of science to sort of infer things, which is all you see in the health space, actually. So yeah, big problem there. Big problem there. But this, I mean, again, this isn't just this. I want to emphasize, this isn't just for people that are, wanting to find answers, like just broadly speaking, just out of pure curiosity, like strictly curiosity. It's also, of course, for people that are keen to optimize their health. Like, of course it is. That's what it's based around is yes, it's based in curious, logical deduction to arrive at conclusions, but the conclusions mean something. It's about obviously optimizing your health, even if you're not sick. And the thing about carnivores, there's a lot of people that are very sick that are arriving that are coming to the diet. And so that's one thing. Obviously, you're in very high demand of answers whenever you are sick. But there's also people that, they may not have had the most serious of problems on their previous diet and their previous behaviors, but they adopt a carnivore diet and they realize, wow, I could have been feeling like this the whole time. Well, what if I could feel even better than that? What if there's a way to sort of approximate even more the most indicated diet for human beings. And so that's another reason why someone may seek answers. So if you're one of those people as well, then once again, this community is for you, and you don't want to pass up the offer to be a founding member of this community. A community based around scientific rigor, a community that actually, that forces you to contend with the possibility that perhaps your positions are wrong. This is a community where people are not afraid to change their minds whenever they find information that contradicts their previous, the previous preconceptions of the diet or any aspect of the universe pertaining to human health, science broadly. So just another reason for you to join if you are one of those people. So yes, let me see here. The biggest difference I've noticed on carnivores, a more lean experience, even with the exact same body fat. That alone makes me not want to go back. Yeah, right. Well, there you go. A lot of people see that. I've especially in the performance aspect of things, I have personal friends of mine, even just from high school, that they thought that they were going to have a dip in performance whenever they went carnivore. And by the way, I've said that you may very well expect some whenever you're not completely fat adapted yet. But they've had some they've had quite the different experience, quite the opposite experience, which is they've never had better performance before. And it's more steady. The thing they always say is that it's steady performance. So the reason I bring it up is when you talk about leanness, so to speak, I kind of think in the training realm of things. I know that a lot of times, because I think of muscle is what I think of. But sometimes people just mean a loss of fat, which is a different sort of part of the brain to tap into, fat loss and all that stuff. But that's what happens whenever you don't spike your insulin all the time. So, okay, I'd like to know what it is we're building. Like, is it a space for discussion just around certain topics and with a certain approach? Are you kind of waiting to see where it goes for now? To your last point there, it's a little bit of that as well, because it also depends on what the other people in the community think is appropriate to introduce and not appropriate to introduce. That's the part that you'll be involved in as a founding member, with shaping the community itself. And so there are ideas, there are visions that I have for the community. There's things that, of course, there's things that I want to include in the community. And we'll see how that works. Of course, like I said, it's sort of a rudimentary level right now. But the primary purpose of this is the community aspect. I think a lot of people undervalue, and I was guilty of this originally first. I mean, whenever we talk about, or as well, whenever we talk about how when I first started, uploading public, posting public material, it was this was 2 years ago at this point. I think everyone makes the mistake of sort of undervaluing community, because especially if you have your own personal community that you interact with in the real world, like not outside of the online world, they completely undervalue a community. I really understood this whenever I became affiliated with Peter's coaching program. Again, many of you have probably heard me mention this as well, where we have a community aspect of that. And I thought that was sort of, oh yeah, that's supplementary. That's great. I didn't think it was a bad thing. I didn't even necessarily think it was a neutral thing. I thought that's good. But I didn't realize just how valuable it actually is, especially for people trying to benefit their health. You'd be quite surprised at how many people have the same problems as you. You'd be quite surprised at how many people have the answer to a problem that you might have, had the problem and then also found the answer, and now that can provide you the answer as well. Like it's amazing. You see it every day when you're in these communities. So again, it goes right back to the original point. If you're someone that is looking and seeking answers, and you know that the answer, the tunnel that you're sort of traveling through to arrive at those answers is the most robust, if that makes sense, based on the ultimate amount of scientific rigor, where the science is discussed, plainly, and there's no hidden agenda or anything like that, then obviously this community is for you. If you're not someone that desires that, if you're an ideologue or something, I hope you're not. Then obviously, there's no worries. Don't worry about it at all. What's your position on raw primal / carnivore versus cooked carnivore? Cooking all your food and calling it carnivore is an oxymoron. That is false. The definition of a carnivore has nothing to do, has no consideration with whether it's raw or cooked. False. I declared my interest twice with different emails. I hope it succeeds. There are communities out there. But rather than quantity, I prefer quality, so it should be straightforward and no bullshit. Yes, correct. Polish Mike. When it comes to registering interest, there's no more registering interest anymore. The community is out as of Sunday, so February 1st. Today's Tuesday, so that's what this is about. If anyone hasn't heard, the community is officially out now. There is a link in the description of this live stream, and you know what? That's not enough. That's not enough. Let's go ahead and put it in the chat itself. To become a founding member, not only to really become one, but to actually secure your spot as one. Because, I want to repeat, I am going to be raising the prices significantly after this. So for the first, hold on, I need to make sure that I actually get this in the chat the correct way. Got to do it right the first time. Got to make sure of that. And then I'll pin it. And then there's no way that you can miss out unless you miss this live stream. In which case, I'll do another one. I'll do another one. How about that? Take that. Let's see here. Okay. I'm wanting to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Just gotta get that link in the chat here. And then we can go from there. Here we go. And we shall pin that message at the top. There we go. All right. Now there's no missing out. Again, it's also in the description for after this live is over. So let's see what else people are saying. I do athletics, and I really haven't noticed any change in performance. Okay. What kind of athletics? How long have you been carnivore? Those questions come to mind. I ran the exact same time in the 400 meter before and after changing the diet. Well, you can think of that two different ways. You can think of that in one way, oh, there's no improvement at all, that sucks. Or you can think, well, there was no deficiency in my performance at all, which is great. The fear of worse performance was one of the things stopping me from making the change. I'm glad it went perfectly smooth. Yes. That is what I would be looking, and that's how I would be looking at it. Ordered your book. Can't wait to read it. Greetings from Hungary. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's another point. If you thoroughly enjoyed this book, if you loved this book, that's just yet another reason to join this community, because the thinking in this book is what you'll find in the community. If you think the same way, or at the very least, if you have the desire to sort of think that exact same way, then this community is also for you. If not, and you are someone that likes to look at human nutrition science to find your answers, again, no worries at all. Again, if you want to know what matters when it comes to inferring how we ought to eat, how we ought not to eat, how we ought to live, how we ought not to live in a health setting, and as opposed to what's a distraction, then this community is for you. If you want to know that distinction, if you are already fast, why would you think you're suddenly going to get better? Hey, you never know what can happen. Community is what has kept me carnivore for 2 years, 2 months, with no falling off the wagon after a lifetime of carb addiction. I am very glad that you said that, Oaktown girl, because that is precisely one of the other thoughts that I had whenever I was making this community. So everyone a lot of people don't like to talk about this, but I think it's important to talk about. And again, you could talk about it more easily in a community of people that are like-minded. But a lot of people they don't like talking about how they have the desire. Some people don't, and that's great for them. But a lot of people have the desires to deviate, to transgress, and then those actually manifest into true materialized transgressions, falling off the wagon, as they say. And one of the things that community can do is it can help keep you accountable. So, for example, some people have challenges, and I don't even think some of them realize this. They don't realize that a lot of their challenges that they have, like these diet challenges that are within like carnivore, let's talk about within the realm of carnivore because we relate to that the most. They'll have these like, they do a month of like lion diet or a month of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, right? You sort of do these challenges. But a lot of people think that that's what challenge is about. I think a lot of people, even the people that initiate these challenges, that's what they think it's about. They just think it's about beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Let's see how I feel afterwards. It's like, no. Well, yes. But I think at least for many people, if it's not universal, for many people, that's not what it's about. What it's about is having a community of people that sort of function as a safety net, that keep you up, that hold you accountable. That is a massively undervalued aspect of community. If you are someone that spends all of your time alone, I'm not saying that's your fault, but there are downsides to that. I've experienced this too. I've been a very busy individual for a long time. And part of being busy is not being able to have, be as cohesive of an aspect of a community. Okay, like they're all around me, sure, but the time I have to actually hang out with people and stuff, it's limited, and that makes me a less optimal person than I know that I am whenever I am tightly integrated with that community. So this is just another reason to join the community. This makes you a better person, and that's not, some people might look at that and they say, oh, it can't be that good. It's like, well, I mean, have you tried it? Have you signed up yet? Because that's your opportunity to find out. Uh-oh. No signal. How ironic. There's a lot of signal in this community. Because that's all we focus on is the signal. Not all the noise that we're swamped with in the human nutrition science space and the human health space broadly. But yes, Oaktown Girl, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Because now, I didn't say it. You did. She did, everyone. And it's true. Oh, got it. That's good. No need for exogenous carbs for explosive movements. Yeah, no. In fact, when it comes to exogenous carbohydrates, the only thing that I think you can use, because I call sugar a drug, and that's because it is, by definition, it fits all the criteria. Before people say, well, how are you going to say the sugar's a drug if it doesn't kill you after you consume it? Well, alcohol doesn't kill you right after you consume it either. I don't understand. Drugs don't just... One of the criteria for being a drug is not, having it kill you upon consumption. That's just not, that's not how it works. So, let's see here. Yeah, it's not initially obvious how much a community can affect these heavily intellectual pursuits, but that's why institutions exist in the first place. Correct. You get it as well. Jacob the Dane, wait a minute. Have you sent a message in here as of yet? No, this is your first message. Have you joined to be a founding member of my ultimate health science community, a first of its kind? Knowing Eddie, I joined the community. Oh, look at that, he has. There we go. He's not missing out. And paid 1 year in advance because I know it's going to be worth every penny. Can't wait to increase my knowledge. Yes, of course. I'm glad to have you on board. And I look forward to communicating with you and interacting with you in the community further. I already started today. I uploaded my first, bit of stuff to get things started. Again, rudimentary element there. But it's just the first of many, many things, I'm sure. Oaktown Girl, hey. Hello. What is your opinion on Face IQ? Well, earlier you might be new to the stream here, but Face IQ, I'm not entirely familiar with his content. I've seen a bit. Obviously, I know what the guy looks like and sounds like. He's been in my comments before. I think I went on one of his videos where he mentioned casually, just like off to the side, 'cause someone told me about it, my book, and he said it was his favorite book. Face IQ, if you're watching, I don't know what your real name is. I don't know if anyone knows. What's his real name? Don't dox him. But Face IQ, if you're watching, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad that you enjoy the book. Face IQ, if you're watching, have you joined my Ultimate Health Science community? Have you done so? If not, why not? No excuses. This is your time. Just joined, looking forward to it. Coach Casey, glad to have you on board. Glad to have you as a part of this. And I look forward to you, well, being an integral part of it as well and helping build it from the ground up as a founding member. His name is Frost. Wow. That is a very eccentric name. Is that his real name? If it is, look, I'm not going to say it isn't, but Face WIQ, that's his government name. Oh, well, you know what? Face. Hey, Face. What's up, Face? So obviously you know about Agnes von der Planets. Oh, of course I do. The guy that said that sodium makes your cells explode. Yeah, I know about that guy. Raw carnivore better than cooked? There are many ways in which I can answer that question that would all be equally valid. But what I will say is that I'm in a little bit of a more conciliatory mood at the moment because I'm trying to build a community, to hold a community together, to build one from the ground up, not to divide people today. But therefore, what I will say is that is going to be individual depending on who you are. Some people seem to do better on raw carnivore, and some people don't really see any difference. And some people may do worse. I will say, I've never heard anyone do worse on raw carnivore, ever. I have only heard that people do better. Take that as you will. See, this is just an example of the kind of dialogue that you'll see in the health community, in the health science community. Fairness and not diet tribalism. So if you're someone that also is, this is sort of separate, but if you're someone that likes, wants to be able to tie diet to mechanism as well and understand the inner workings of the body in relation, how that relates to diet or how diet relates to that, this is another reason to join, because obviously I'm the one that heads the community and that's the way I think. So it's what makes a difference, not what's just noise, basically. As I keep saying, signal and noise, because there's a lot of noise in the health space. There's a lot of opinions and a lot of claims, but not enough actual rigor to back it up. And there's a lot of industry-sponsored bias, and that's none of that is in this community. If you want communities like that, don't join this one. So okay. I wanted to make sure that I'm actually caught up with the chat. But deep curiosity of the inner workings of the body is that's like my thing. So if you're the same way, then of course this is your opportunity. You have longer than just today, by the way, to be fair. But who knows how much longer? Who knows? Who knows? And you want to talk about noise? One of the things that introduces so much noise in the health space is the amount of contradictory information out there. Well, it's sort of a function of that noise. Is a bunch of contradictory information. So this community will help you be able to sift through that and be able to distinguish, reconcile seemingly contradictory studies. Because sometimes they're not actually contradictory; they just look like it, like in the conclusions and all that stuff. So. Darko Velchek promotes using salt with water to detox the blood, which he calls plasma alongside eating raw meat. Well, plasma is the liquid part of blood, But okay, salt. I don't really know why he thinks it'll clear the salt out, or sorry, clean the blood out or the plasma out. Have we really been cooking our meat for hundreds of thousands of years? I'm unfamiliar with the evidence. Here's what I have to say about that. Whenever you try and find an evidence of cooked meat anthropologically, it's very difficult. Okay, you can get, again, a stronger signal than others. For example, you can find charred bones, and you can actually use specific technology to determine whether or not that bone was burned through actual usage of fire or if it was from a natural disaster. So still fire, but different. You can actually use technology to do so. I can't remember at the top of the head what that's about or what that technology is. Here's what I'll say ultimately about it, though. Even the current tribes, hunter-gatherer tribes, without any influence of outside, society or anything like that, started cooking their meat. Even if they still eat raw meat, which they do, absolutely, they also will cook their meat in some cases. So if they discovered it, why would we believe that we didn't discover it hundreds of thousands of years ago? That's what I would say. I love your videos, says Mr. Dino 2007. Well, I'm glad that you enjoy them. If you enjoy my videos, and or if you loved Contraindicated as well, as I said earlier, then you will love being a part of this community via your position as a founding member to help build the community. Have you signed up yet? Have you signed up yet? That is the question. One of the things that annoys me a lot about comment sections under carnivore videos is there is fields of people claiming they're wrong, and usually about zero giving any kind of actual argument. Yup. Absolutely. That is the case. That is definitely the case. Again, if you're tired of that and you want to be a formidable defender of carnivore, this is the community to join. By the way, Trend Bite Nation. That is an epidemic in every single space that you'll find. Put aside health. Politics is a big one. I bring up politics a lot, not because I actually want to be a politician or something. It's because basically everything is political. I think in some way it's all political, like all of it is. One of the things that you'll find is that two people can be arguing in a comment section about something, and if you actually inquire both of them, if you were to pull them aside and ask them how much they know about the given topic at hand, they really don't know anything beyond the surface level stuff. And sometimes they don't even know the surface level stuff. It's really endemic. It is an epidemic. It really is. Like, you need to, here's a good litmus test for whether you know if you're like, how do I put this? If you know that you're truly ready to attempt to arrive at the truth of something, and you're not fully influenced by tribalism and whatnot, think of the worst ideology that you can think of. Like that you, from your preconceptions of something. So a lot of people will say communism, a lot of people say Nazism if we're talking about politics, okay? Whatever, just pick whatever you think it is. Then ask yourself, would you be ready if you actually went through honest, curious investigation and arrived at conclusions? Would you be ready to accept the potential truth behind those ideologies? If there is some, again, I'm not saying that it's true or false. I'm saying a hypothetical example. Think of the worst thing that you can think of. Would you be willing to change your mind on that if the truth actually led you there? If honest, curious investigation? Because if the answer is no, not if the answer is yeah, it would be hard, but I would. I'm saying if the answer is no, if you're honest with yourself and the answer is no, then you're not ready to have these conversations. That's kind of the litmus test that I gave myself. Like, don't think of all the PR around whatever, like, or the marketing about whatever. Think about it from just an honest perspective. Like, no fallacious logic. So that's kind of my litmus test for it. Let's see here. Are magnesium and potassium sufficient in meat, particularly muscle meat? Well, let me ask you a question. Why would it not be? Why would it not be? If we have evolved to consume that diet based on every hard inference that we have, undergirded by a fundamental understanding of evolutionary biology, then why wouldn't it be enough? Inuits were the most healthy humans before eating the garbage brought by the Anglos. It wouldn't surprise me. Anglos. Damn those Anglos. I especially appreciated the foundational truth bit in the intro video. You've often alluded to the how do we know this of various claims in your YouTube content. That's daunting to navigate on my own. Yes, that is ontology and epistemology talking right there. And there's still, because when you start digging into the actual fabric of the universe, there is still going to be some unanswered, some unknown unknowns, and just some explicated unknowns. And that's something to still understand. You're not ever going to find the answer to everything, but you can at least arrive at the most that you can, right? That's kind of how I think about it. Inuits, I think, mainly cooked the hardest of the animals. The rest was raw. The hardest of the animals, okay? The rest was raw. Fair enough. I mean, obviously, we'd have to sort of have to deduce why they cooked their meat. Like, what if it wasn't all meat? What made them cook? What makes them cook some meat compared to others? Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. I haven't looked enough into it. But do you eat raw liver? I don't. I've never had raw liver, by the way. I know, so domesticated, so domesticated. Domesticated human I am. What else do we have here? Diatribes, if you will. Yeah, ooh, that's good. That's a good one. Facts, literally anyone on YouTube. Yes, indeed. Typically, this is the rule I follow, okay? If I don't know enough about something, I shut the hell up. In fact, you know what? That's not even precisely accurate. What I do instead, I don't shut the hell up. I ask questions. This community is perfect for asking questions. We encourage that. That's why. We don't discourage that, like a lot of other groups do. Why? How dare you question me? Even if they don't explicitly state it, it's a lot of times implied that that's what they're feeling. You're threatening my ideology here. Why are you pushing back instead of just listening to what I'm saying? Now, since we're all human, I think we all have sort of feelings about that sometimes. We feel that sometimes. But you have to be self-aware enough to shut that down. Even if it requires you to take a break from the conversation for a bit, to like sort of swallow the pride a bit. You have to be willing to do it. Not just willing, but able to do it. So, again, this is a community where we don't encourage that. We don't encourage the pride. If you enjoy the pride, if you enjoy the diatribes, if you will, then again, you can feel free to join any other community. This community is not for you. And there's no worries about that. But anyway. Let's see here. What do we have? Almost all politicians are Luciferians and criminals. Don't trust any of them. I do wonder if that's true. One of the things, I think that there's a lot of times where we think that we know everything about politicians because they're in the business of they're not even necessarily in the business of lying, although a lot of them do, because power corrupts. That's just what it does. It doesn't only do that. Power can be used for good or bad. But they're in the business of persuasion. And so they have to play a very fraught game, which is, how do I hold a coalition together while also being principled? So they have to juggle between utilitarianism and their ultimate code of ethics that they hold. And then it's just some people do it better than others. The ones that do it really well, they're the career politicians in many cases. Also, the career politicians happen to be the liars, like you speak of. There are plenty of corrupt individuals that have no principles at all. They're just mouthpieces for whoever will give them the most power. I'm going to eat this piece of raw liver for you. Oh, good, Absolute. Hey, Absolute. Have you signed up to be a member of the health science community? Have you signed up? You can record yourself eating raw liver and post it in the community. Indoctrination. If you want to talk about politics affecting food, you should look at the YouTuber Mr. Beast promoting lab-grown meat with Mr. Bill Gates and Rockefeller as being his sponsors. Ah, yeah, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast. Oh, boy. Yes, I stopped excessive exercising, and I loved it from a young age. How much was excessive? I'm not doubting that you actually were excessively exercising. I'm just curious. I tried cooked liver that tasted horrible. Then I tried very lightly seared liver with the inside raw, and it was way better. See, yeah, like if we're talking about things like liver, ancestrally speaking, did we cook liver? I don't really think so. We probably just ate it raw. If you're going out of your way to eat the organs, then you probably ate them raw. Raw beef liver is surprisingly sweet. I've heard that many times. Tender, as you'd expect, I guess, but no idea about the health side of it. Nah, cooked liver with nothing is fine, although I'm talking only about lamb head beef liver. Never had beef liver. Okay. But you agree raw is better, right? Absolute. Connor Goodwin, absolute. Yes, I've only tried lamb and cooked it. It was bitter and chalky. At least if you're not going to become a Freemason, I am fine with it. Okay. In health, yeah, and generally taste. No, Eddie Goki, I need to join. Yes, you do. Absolute. You need to join. At Connor Goodwin. Are you American? Okay. Yeah, look, the reasons not to join is if you're a hardcore ideologue, you don't care about human health, if you're not interested in determining fact from fiction, all of that stuff, those are reasons not to join the community. If you want to be told that you're right without being challenged as well, even when you're not getting the results that you want, potentially, yeah, you just shouldn't, this isn't the place for you. That's what I would say. And again, I want to emphasize, this isn't merely just about joining the community, because you might think, well, I got time. It's like, I mean, theoretically, depending on how you look at it, you have time, of course, because I'm not going to shut down the community in a month. It's not like that's how that works, or 2 months or 3 months. Like, I'm not doing that. But it is a limited time that I will be offering this founding members price. Limited time. The prices will increase significantly later on. So don't miss it. Can you really get poisoned from getting too much copper and retinol from foods such as liver? Yes, because you can get poisoned by getting too much of anything. However, I'm not going to be an asshole about it. You can get too much of anything. However, I understand that people have when they ask these questions, they understand what they're asking. Is it easy to get poisoned from it with a small amount? That's really what you're asking, because obviously everyone knows that you can get too much of everything. And I think the answer is yes, because liver is very nutritionally dense. And the reason for that is very clearly understood when you look at how much the liver actually takes on, like liver cells actually take on in terms of their function. How many people do we have here? Oh, we got more than we had at the beginning. Good. Cool. Oh, I'm losing it. I'm losing the chat. What is excessive training in your opinion? I train every 4 days, high intensity for 45 minutes, mainly compound lifts. Okay, here's what I would say. I want to give a preface real quick. I've been talking about, I've said this for the last 2 years. I've said this even before that in my book, Contraindicated. I know that this is about the community. And so once again, if you fucking love this book, let me tell you, join the community. Again, just another reason. But I wrote in chapter 1, it was all about, it's called Looking at Science Differently is crossed out, and it says properly, looking at science properly. And it was all just it was aspersion casting on human nutrition science and honestly tacitly statistics broadly. However, it is important to understand that is in the context of all of the limitations still exist, no matter what fields you're referring to this type of science in. However, sometimes that type of science is the only thing that you can refer to. So, for example, if you're trying to infer how should we be eating as human beings, well, you can look at comparative anatomy. You can look at certain elements of our biochemistry. So physiology journals can point in a certain direction. They can help point in a given direction. You look at observational paleoanthropology. You look at chemical anthropology, all undergirded by a fundamental understanding of evolutionary biology, right? However, when you start talking about what is excessive exercise, or what is the best way to maximize hypertrophy, greatest return on investment when it comes to building muscle, then you actually have to start referring to that type of science, because it's the only thing. You can't look at comparative anatomy. You can't look at our digestive systems or like our forearm muscles and say, yeah, you should do this many sets and this many reps. It's like, you can't do that. It's not, you can't do that. And so from what I have looked at, understanding the limitations, they're still there. I'm not pretending otherwise. Don't think that this is some sort of contradiction. He's lending credence to human nutrition. You got me spitting all over the place. I got myself spitting all over the place. I'm really worked up about this. That's not what's happening. Understanding that the limitations are still there. 3 sets of about 6 to 8 reps of a weight, static weight, in this context, that you cannot lift more than 6 to 8 times. Full body workout on that given day, on the day concerned. What's considered a full body split when it isn't a split? It's just a full body workout. No more than 3 days a week. That is for hypertrophy purposes. For strength purposes, they go hand in hand, but there's slight technical, functional, definitional differences. It's the exact same protocol, but it's 4 to 6. 4 to 6 reps. If strength is your priority more than hypertrophy is. Given elements of biodiversity amongst all of us, you will have to find your sweet spot within that interval range. 6 to 10, if you take the 2 interval ranges and combine them. If you're someone that's using a variable resistance device like X3, which I have, it seems that you can get away with 1 set to failure so long as you perform diminishing reps. However, I typically use or perform 2 sets, even with the X3. So, anything more than that, that's what I think is excessive. If you're looking to build muscle, if you're looking to build strength, just as a final note, you cannot get away from lifting heavy. You cannot do that. There are no shortcuts. The name felt familiar. Some things better raw, some things better cooked. Enjoy both. There you go. Oh no! It skipped all the way down. I'm trying not to miss all of your chats. Yeah, but the price goes up for everyone. No, so why not just buy it when it goes up? Well, why would you do that? No, it doesn't. Who told you that the price goes up for everyone? It doesn't go up for everyone. The founding member's price is locked in for life so long as you remain a member in good standing. That's the key. You will not get this offer again. And it will be locked in. Do you plan on having a farm one day? Well, we'll see. I definitely plan on supporting a regenerative farm, even if it's not my own. That's like non-negotiable. So long as I'm alive, I'm going to find a way to do that and work towards that. Do you think raw is better than cooked? Once again, I just spoke about this in the live a few times now. It's not your fault. If you joined later, it's fine. I would suggest rewinding. Short answer, not necessarily. Many people wouldn't consider ontology and epistemology as science. I would, so it's hard to discuss it with rigor. Well, I think it sort of precedes science. It undergirds it. I don't think it's even included in science. I think science is built upon it. It has to be. But I'd at least like to know the historical origins of various claims to then judge for myself if it seems to follow logically. Yes, history is important. Do we eat raw organs, Connor? Only liver, but not completely raw. Fair. I haven't sourced good enough brain or heart to eat raw either. Liver tends to be fine. You drink raw milk? I have to buy expensive ones from England. Oh yeah, I haven't had raw dairy before either. That's another goal of mine. You see, I think it's easier for people in other countries to acquire a lot of this food and a lot of these things that are considered by the common man to be extravagant or whatever. And the reason for that is because people think of America as like the land of food, like we're all fat and everything. I was just talking to someone that was born and raised in Italy, and they now live in America. They have they have a visa and everything. And she was telling me about how, from her perspective, it's just all fast food. Like, that's all it is. And it's the same types too. Like a McDonald's here, McDonald's there, McDonald's there. Taco Bell, Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Hardee's, Hardee's, Hardee's. It's the same thing in the grocery stores as well. It's horrible. And so there's very little variety. It's just a bunch of garbage. And so I think when it comes to just these organ meats and all this stuff, we don't have that stuff. It's very hard to acquire lamb, for example. You can't really acquire mutton here at all in the country. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying it's very things that are common in other countries. It's just not a thing here at all. You could do a live stream with Anthony Chafee, especially since you're a good intellectual. Well, I did. I did do a podcast with him, but that was back in November. I'm surprised it's still not out on his channel. It came out in December on his Apple Podcasts, but we recorded it, and I'm waiting for it to be uploaded on his channel. I'm surprised that's not out yet, because I would like people to see that conversation. It was a very good conversation. And Anthony is a very intelligent person. So, that's I'm surprised. I mean, I don't know if anyone has heard that podcast at all. But speaking of intelligence, if you're someone that's intelligent and good looking, this is also another reason to join the community if you haven't already. Me too. How expensive? Oh, okay. Most people building muscles professionally are on drugs and reducing their lifespan by half with poison. Yes, correct. Maybe not by half, but obviously, yes. That's the pedant in me talking. It's very hard to get good quality meat and organs here. Yeah. Where are you, Luca? And Luca, have you signed up to be a member of the ultimate health science community, a first of its kind that values veracity and integrity over ego and dogma and industry-sponsored bias? Have you done so? And if not, what are your excuses? Trick question. There aren't any. Even though the milk in America is way cheaper and easier to find, it seems like everything is rubbish quality. My American cousin came here and his weird allergy thing's not sure. We're not getting aggravated, I think. Even with pasteurized Scottish milk store-bought. Yep, correct. You are 100% correct. And it's one of the things that I want to, it's one of the things that I actually want to, work towards fixing. Because it's a problem in America, the food quality. It really, really is. I know RFK Jr. is doing his thing and everything, but the thing about, and this is a good thing, but it also has its flaws. No system is perfect. The thing about the American government is that it is designed to be a lot of stalemates. It's designed to be a lot of just not a lot of change occurring. Some change, but very minimal. And that's a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. It is a good thing because it's designed to make it to where the fundamentals of the system cannot just be casually, perfunctorily changed. But that also means that our food system, it's going to take a long time for things to change. I know a lot of people complain about that. And look, I complain about it too, but I complain about it in a different way. I don't say that that shouldn't be the way it is. It's actually it's very fortunate that we have that, but it has its cons. Eddie, are you thinking about writing any other books? I really enjoyed Contraindicated. Well, we'll see what happens. I do write a lot of my own personal things. And as we know, with the first book, a lot of those personal writings culminated into a book. But who's to say whether something will happen or not? It may or may not, as I often say in my public material as well. So anyway, I'm going to read these next messages that I have, and then I'm going to be ending this. I'm going to be stopping this because I'm going for a little over an hour. I think that's a healthy amount of time. This may sound controversial. You plan on marrying and having children with a well-minded woman like you. Well, I have a fiance, and we are going to be married this year. So of course that is my plan. We think differently and also the same, which is kind of what you go for. Edwardian. I've never heard that one before. What are your thoughts on excellent health? That would be cool for you to interact. I'm not familiar with him or her. Want to be careful there. We're inclusive in this space. Mr. Louis Pasteur was a fraud. Pasteurization is an abomination. Yeah, I think on a federal basis that was implemented like fully by law in the 1970s in America. I wrote about that in Contraindicated, Chapter 4. If you haven't bought that book already, you're missing out as well. I know this is about the community. So you know what? Even if you haven't bought the book, join the community first because you'll get a lot of the same thinking there. You can buy the book later if you'd like. You should, by the way. Yeah, I think a lot of that was because of the dairy industry and whatever, just wanting money. Also, American chicken tasted way worse. This is like Atlanta, though. This is, I don't know, it will obviously vary, but it feels like they just feed them with poison. And yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good. Okay. All right. Well, it was good speaking with you. I hope to see you in the program, or not the program, but the community. I mean, it is a program, but it is a community first and foremost. As a founding member. And before I go, like I said, if you haven't joined yet, the link is in the description below to join. It is also pinned in this chat right now. So before the chat closes, you can go ahead and make sure that you click on that and sign up. Again, this is a limited time offer as a founding member to help build up the community from the ground up, really. And have that price locked in for life so long as you remain a member in good standing. Okay, this is a limited time offer. The prices will be increasing significantly later on. You do not want to be one of those people to be, passing up this opportunity, because that's what this is. This is an opportunity for you to be able. It's again a positive double whammy. You get to build the community, you help shape the community, while also getting the best deal for it. There's no reason to pass it up at all. So, I'll see you in the community. With that being said, have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next time.